He said something happened in the garage and the garage exploded.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to FireTalk. Today, I am talking with Brian King. Thank you, Brian, so much for joining us. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. What got you into doing these builds with cars and trucks? Where you're from?
I hail from West Michigan. I live just on the south side of Grand Haven. Um, if you do the Michigan mitten thing, I live right here next to Lake Michigan. And I was born and raised in a town called Holland, just a little bit further south. So I come from a Dutch heritage, strong work ethic, determination, vision, get it done kind of mentality. And a lot of what we did centered around the automobile industry, building, customizing cars. My dad was a huge car guy, drag race, built cars. My grandfather, the same. So I had no choice. I was born with gasoline in my veins. So when it came to conversation, more than not, it centered around the latest and greatest coming off the line in Detroit.
Do you remember what your first project was?
Yeah, for sure. You know, I grew up around all kinds of different builds. My grandfather was a huge Mustang guy. So at one point he had like 18 different Mustangs, Shelby, California Cougar, you name it. So we're always tinkering around with those cars. My dad was a Fairlane guy. And so there's always something in the garage, something coming and going. But my first project with my dad was a 1969 Fairlane that we had found. He spotted this thing after coming home from work one afternoon and said, "Bri, you got to come check this out." And next thing you know, I was down at the bank and we were paying this guy and driving it home. So for about 6 months together, we tore that thing down and rebuilt the engine and rebuilt the quarter panels on the back and some of the interior. And it looked pretty smooth when it was finished, and we had a great time doing it. I know cars for me are nothing more than an excuse to spend time together, and that's really what the deal was there. It's fun to talk about. It's cars are fun to drive. They're a blast to race, but at the end of the day, it's about family. It's about people, and to be able to have those opportunities with my grandfather and my dad, I'll cherish forever. So it was a 1969 Fairlane, and that thing got me in a lot of trouble. I eventually, it was one ticket after another, and next thing I know, I was in driving school. I'd lost my license. Actually, my wife, who I've been married to now 29 years, gonna be 30 this year. We dated for 7 years, met her in high school, and when we first met, I couldn't drive, so she drove my car. She took the wheel, and wherever we went, she drove us around. But that was the first initial build, and man, it was a blast. Good times.
Have you ever had a fire, experienced one, had to put one out? Do you have any sort of stories around that?
I really appreciate that question. When I was 21, I was studying, and I got a phone call from one of my good buddies. It was a November evening, just after Thanksgiving, and he said, "Listen, you need to come home." I lived about 2 hours away from home at that point studying, and he said, "Your brother's been burned really bad." And at first, I thought, okay, maybe he burned his hand or his leg or something like that. But then as he continued to unpack the conversation, he said, "No, you need to understand." He said something happened in the garage and the garage exploded. And he ran out of the garage, and your mom saw him run through the breezeway, and he's wearing a trench coat. And that thing went up like that. They ended up flying him to one of the big hospitals up in Grand Rapids, where he spent the next year recovering. It was one of those situations where life turned on a dime. He was a three-sport athlete, had a beautiful girlfriend at the time, and the fire changed his life. And 95% of his body was burned, over 20 surgeries. My brother eventually came through. The fire took his ability to walk, some of his thinking capacities, some of his motor skills, and he ended up in a wheelchair, and he's in a wheelchair to this day. So fire has been something that I've learned to respect. It can take your life quickly, and I've taught my boys. I've got two two sons. I paid special attention to how they, approach situations with fire, and helping them understand how powerful it can become, and how it can change your life. So when it came time to talk about fire safety, I wanted to make sure that we had the right kind of equipment that could do the job. But you want to make sure that that as you're thinking about some of the things, you got the best on the market. So yeah, for me, it's personal. It really is. And so I just want to make sure that as we move forward, that we've got the right gear to make sure that we're safe and on par as we're moving forward.
Well, thank you for sharing that. Can you imagine that just changed your life, your whole family's life? And it is one thing, we do talk about with people, like, hopefully never have to use it, but it's something you don't want to need it and not have it, because in reality, it's one of those things you don't think it's going to happen to you. And then when it does, it can be a range of not great to terribly bad. And you just don't want to be in that situation if you can help it.
You got it. I appreciate the fact that you do that. And that's the thing. It's the extinguisher is it's a tool, but I think the education component is really important.
And we appreciate people like you talking to us. This whole point of FireTalk is to actually put it in perspective with real stories, real life applications, so people can understand it for themselves in their lives better. So a little bit of shameless product plug here, but you have our extinguishers behind you. What made you reach out to us for your fire extinguishers?
Absolutely. So let me press rewind for a moment, okay? So I give direction to an organization called Vox, and it's a specialized water development agency. We do work primarily in sub-Saharan Africa. Anyhow, back in 2008, I was on a bucket list safari up in northern Mozambique. Came down with dysentery, drank some of the water over there. Yeah, and the short story is that it put me in a clinic. They gave me the wrong medication, and it almost took my life. So in the process of recovering from that situation, I found out that 37% of the kids were dying from waterborne illnesses in that region. So got back to the States, sat down with some of my friends who have construction firms, and I said, listen, guys, with our work ethic and our ability to get stuff done, we can kick a dent in this thing. So what do you think? So we put our hands in the center. We started a nonprofit. And for the past 12 years, we've been working to get people sustainable, clean drinking water, been able to benefit over 1.5 million people with clean water. So my father passed away last year from a lung disease. And when he was diagnosed, I said to him, Dad, what do you think about doing one last build? One last hot rod or something? Yeah, let's do it. Unfortunately, the disease went through him a lot faster than what we anticipated, and we never got around to it. So when he had passed, I said to my wife, Laura, I need to do that last build. I need to do that, and I need to do it in such a way that it's an homage to my dad, his love for cars and his love for people. And so the thinking was, rather than building a hot rod, a Fairlane, or a Mustang, I run Land Cruisers and Hiluxes and different 4x4s in Africa to do our work. I thought, if I can build a truck here in the States that would mirror one of the trucks that we use in Africa and use it to share the story, and maybe even raise a few nickels, that would be something that I'd like to put my shoulder into, right? So I got with my cousin Jason Halst, who's got Halst Customs in Grants Pass, Oregon. He and his team, they build SEMA trucks for Ford. So I said, here's the thinking. What do you think, Jay? He said, let's do it. I'll help you build this thing. And so we started designing this truck, and he put his spin on it, and we started talking to different companies in the industry, and they fell in love with the idea and said, hey, listen, we'd love to throw our product on there. We'd like to put our bumpers on there. We'd like to throw, Fox. I talked to Mike Dennison over at Fox, and he said, listen, we'd love to help you with some Fox shocks, and so they put the best of their shocks on the truck. And then the ball just started rolling. And the commitment was, if we're going to do this, we want to make sure that we have the best truck and we put the best product on the truck. Okay. So we took the truck to SEMA. SEMA heard what we're doing and said, listen, we'd love to feature your truck. Come on out. You can do it on our dime. So we brought the truck out to Vegas. We live here in West Michigan. we showed it, and we shared our story, had the opportunity to tell people what we're doing, and the fact that we're using this truck to raise $1 million, and we're going to give it all back. That's what we're going to do. I mean, I don't need another truck, to be honest with you. I don't. But if I can purchase a truck and work with a bunch of really cool high-end organizations that care and use this as a way, a mechanism, so to speak, to help a lot of people, then game on, right? At SEMA, we shared the story and got a lot of people excited about what we're doing. We launched a campaign called the 4x4 Challenge. That's 4, the number 4 by FOR. So we 4x4 clean drinking water. What are you 4x4, right? Yeah. So, and then if you're interested, you can learn more about it at HerschX.com. That's HerschX.com. My wife and I are going to take the truck and we're going to ship it to the UK next year. And we're going to drive it down Europe and then through the continent of Africa, where it's going to culminate in a clean water project in Mozambique. And the whole intention here is to bring more exposure to the need and do something about it. So to bring this back around, when it came time to think about fire safety, it was right in line with everything else that we've been doing with the truck. We want nothing but the best. And so when we started exploring, who out there is the best, one of the things that caught my eye, especially at SEMA, was H3R and some of the stuff that I'd seen on other trucks and some of the vehicles over there. And I just thought, what, I'm gonna take a look at what's going on there. And as I started doing the research, it was like, this is a no-brainer. This company's amazing. And just hearing about the energy that you put into testing, the standards. I love the fact that this product is tested in 175-degree temperature for 7 days. I read about that, and you see, we're traveling through the Sahara Desert, right? And that's a really big deal. I want to make sure that things stay preserved, and we're gonna be in good shape. I love the fact that there's a clean agent that you can use, right? If something goes down, you invest all this time and energy and money into a really cool ride. And if something goes wrong, you don't want to use a product that's going to create more damage. I just thought, tick, there's another box. The fact that it looks wicked cool. The aesthetic is amazing for me. I the black's cool, the red's cool, but the chrome is just, it's cherry. And to drop that in the truck, right? Not only got a product that is going to perform well, it gives me the confidence that, if something goes awry, I'm good to go. But when people look at the truck, when I look at the truck, knowing my dad is like, he was a guy that was all about the details, he'd love this product. So that's why I'm like, I got to reach out to these guys. I got to reach out to H3R and to see if they'd be interested in journeying with us. And sure enough, hearing the story, you guys said, listen, we love what you're doing and we want to partner with you. And super excited to install these extinguishers. And with the new Pro release, what is it called? What is that thing called?
Pro Lock. Yeah. We're just a couple days away from releasing it. So. I've
seen pictures. It looks amazing. So I'm really excited to be one of the first to be able to install the Pro Lock. Super jazzed about that. So it's a huge honor for me, to be honest with you. So it just makes complete sense all the way across the axis in regards to why we'd want to work with you guys. And just to be honest, the product is cool, but the process has been right on par as well. And to work with you guys, your customer service, just the way you treat people, just thumbs up across the board. So thanks a ton. I really mean that. So thanks for the way that you approach your business, the way that you approach people. And I'm looking forward to sharing about not only the product, but the people who work at H3R.
Couldn't be happier to hear that. Our founder, Stephen Berg, who passed away a number of years ago, but his whole thing was all about relationships. Most important thing in business, number one rule is developing relationships. It's a perfect fit. How you brought together all your different passions and then to honor your dad. It's like, it's totally in line with all of our values and what's important to us. So yeah, we're equally as honored and excited to follow you on your journey.
But now we have to work at adding some of the other componentry that will allow us to live on the road in Africa for 3 months. So we'll keep you posted on that and how things are going there. but we're definitely looking forward to it. So we'll get some stuff done here this spring, and then we're going to start traveling to different events, Overland Expo and so forth, getting the truck tweaked, sharing our story, and then this time next year, our plan is to ship it to the UK. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, I'm sure everyone will be super excited to follow that adventure. And again, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. This has been great. And I know it'll be of value to a lot of people, and we're excited to share your story with all our followers as well. You have a great rest of your week.
All right. You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.